So in fact, we have announced the launch of 32 local zone in 26 countries, which will be launched in 2022. And there are many countries, among them also in the Middle East and Africa. We have Kenya and South Africa. So by doing the launch of local zones, that's where we bring the capability and the services of the cloud closer to the businesses, closer to the telco operators, closer to where they are needed. But from the perspective of local zones, at our AWS, we do not have only the local zone officer. We have a complete cloud continuum, which includes the regions, local zones, edge zones. We have also the outposts. We have wavelengths. So we have quite a few solutions to get the services of the cloud closer to the end user, which will increase the adoption of the cloud in those countries. We have created quite a lot of cloud capabilities in order to help the operators monetize the 5G investments, the 5G networks, which they have also built over the last couple of years. This is coupled also with the large community of developers from AWS side, which helped us also develop quite a few number of use cases. Now, for businesses working closely with AWS, that allows them to develop industry use cases based on the capabilities which AWS provides and the community of developers. The abilities of the 5G networks are great. You have low latency, you have large bandwidth, and you have secure networks. And there are different ways how AWS promotes or supports the utilization of these 5G networks. So the different ways, for instance, include wavelengths. That's one of the solutions from AWS, where we bring the cloud very close to the edge of the network, allowing operators to propose use cases which are very latency sensitive, so with low latencies, and this sits really at the edge of the network. Another solution is the outpost, which sits on premise with the operator, and that solves other kind of issues like, for instance, data sovereignty, or we also have the Snowball family, which is used in rugged environment like on oil platforms or in different very difficult environments. Now, these solutions will allow the utilization of cloud-native use cases for the businesses, and we have already demonstrated that in Middle East and Africa. For instance, we have had during the ADIPEC, we have done a demonstration with DO in the fourth quarter of 2021, and with Etisalat, we just have signed an agreement where we are going to demonstrate several of those use cases in their innovation center. So that is how AWS is promoting Industry 4.0 by bringing the innovation at the edge of the cloud and supporting the creation of new use cases. We are focusing here on four main pillars. The networks cloudified, that's what we call the first pillar. Then we have the operations simplified. Third pillar is the utilization or the enhancement of the customer experience, and the fourth is to unlock the growth. So what do we mean by networks cloudified? Here, what we work very, very closely with the operators is to define software or scalable software-defined networks. That is when we look at the 5G core standalone or at the virtual radio networks. That is where we help the operators really to virtualize their networks in order to be able to have a scalable network and able to respond to the needs in terms of capacity and speed. On the second pillar, we are looking at operations simplified. That is where we look at the reducing the complexity of the networks, of the internal networks of operators. And we are here focusing on automations of the OSS and BSS, cloudifying those complex structures, because we do believe that the complexity is still going to increase further. And the earlier we start with the automation and the cloudification, the easier it will be then to be able to manage this complexity at a later stage. And obviously, one effect of that would also be to reduce the cost. The third pillar is the customer experience. This is, I mean, a lot of the time this is mentioned, but when we say we want to enhance the customer experience, that is based on facts. And facts for us are data. There are lots of data sources within the network, and what we are looking at is to consolidate the data sources, to create a data platform, and to have one source of the truth, and have all the data connected together in different kind of databases, which we then consolidate into a data lake. This data lake then, on top of that one, we will use the AI and ML to analyze and to bring out the value of this data and to use it for different purposes. Those purposes could be for internal purposes to make better decisions, business decisions, but also to reduce costs, for instance, and to look at the preventive maintenance, or start to develop new services for the customer, which are very bespoke services based on the data which is available, based on the utilization of the network or the content. That is the third pillar, and the fourth pillar is where we want to unlock the growth. And here we call this the joint go-to-market, where we develop with the operators based on the existing solutions from AWS, but also on the new developed use cases, which we do in collaboration with the CSPs. We define new use cases, and we go to the enterprise customers, and this is the B2B. We address the B2B market, and that is where the real monetization of the pipe will then happen, and that's the ultimate game of 5G. And we see this as a very important aspect for the operators, where we will be focusing more and more in the future. The first one I would say is digitalization and cloud transformation, which has seen an acceleration in 2021, and this acceleration is definitely going to continue in 2022. The second trend is about cloud adoption from the operators. It's no longer a question of if it's going to happen, if it is more of when is it going to happen. We have seen quite a lot of cloud adoption taking up in Europe and North America. This trend is definitely starting now in the Middle East and Africa, and I see a clear acceleration which is going to start in 2022. The third trend I would say is about the innovation of use cases on the 5G side. The 5G networks are becoming more and more mature, and the innovation started to happen for use cases. And especially we're talking about use cases around how to utilize the data, how to harness the data in order to improve customer experience, in order to improve internal processes, production, creating value chain. For operators, this is a large opportunity, even a huge opportunity. In Middle East and Africa, I would see that there are several industries where which are impacted. One of them would be the oil and gas, the other one would be manufacturing. And specifically in Africa, I would say that agriculture and education would benefit largely from this. Now, a key success factor is to have the necessary skilled workforce and the availability of talented resources. And that is an area where AWS works very closely with the operators in order to develop programs, the right programs, and to provide the necessary funds to increase the certification, as those are key to have a successful cloud adoption and further innovation.